We're going to be talking about money, but not just solely from my own experience, but we also have an expert, which we know we love to do that. So I actually invited somebody to really help us with something that I feel like a lot of us struggle with, but we don't talk about out loud. We keep to ourselves, and that is emotional spending. So, as we know, part of being the beauty industry, trends are changing. There's always new tools, there's always new products, and there's shiny object syndrome for us all the time. And overspending can be something that is a can be kind of like a problem within our business. So I really wanted to invite a guest expert. And so today we're going to be having Danielle on the podcast. She is the co-fund founder. I swear I can't talk today. Sorry. And CEO of Kickstart Accounting Inc., a bookkeeping and accounting firm that is on a mission to coach six-figure and beyond female entrepreneurs so they can better understand their numbers through bookkeeping, financial analysis, and support them so they can grow profitable, sustainable, and enjoyable businesses, which that was my favorite part of all of that.
Yes.
I know, I love that. And I love that you have experience over 15 years in the world of finance, and you really understand how complex business finances can be. And you really know that entrepreneurs need more than just a bookkeeper, which is so true. We need more than somebody like, hey, this is how you manage your numbers, right? Um, and you can really help us with financial analysis and support to get the confidence required to create sustainable wealth that we all deserve. She has been a guest in many top rated podcasts, and she has a podcast herself. It's called Business by the Books. And when she is not working on her money mindset, she is off hiking and spending time with her family. And with that introduction, Danielle, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me here. Money is one of my favorite topics. I don't think we talk about it enough, especially as business owners who are growing their business.
Yeah. And it's so true. And I feel like even for me, having multiple businesses and both of them being at different stages, I've learned so many lessons the hard way. So I really love that you're here to really support us and help us in this journey of entrepreneurship. But I would love to know, like, for small business owners, what is like the biggest like money mistake that you see most of the time, like just in general? Because like for my in my industry, we're not just solely hairstylists. Some of us are makeup artists or bridal hairstylists or different realms of the beauty industry. So, and I also have listeners that are outside of the beauty industry. So I would just love to know what's one of the biggest like common mistake that you see with in regards to money with small business owners.
It's a mindset. It is, I am not, insert the word. I am too small. I am a solopreneur. I'm not enough. I don't deserve to have a money team. I'm not big enough to have a bookkeeper. I don't have enough complex situations to have a tax accountant. I am not enough to spend money to grow my business. And their mindset shifts on the way that we spend money because by staying small, we are we're impacting the growth of our business. We're impacting the way that we can show up in the world. We are keeping ourselves small by thinking that we're not enough to get the help that we need to be able to spend money to grow our business and really to step into our power of step into our power as a business owner.
Yeah, I really love that. So because like with social media, it is so easy to think, well, I'm small. I don't make millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we get into like you're talking about this mindset that, well, I'm still small, so I don't need the help or I am not ready yet for the next step. So what's usually for you, just like I know it's like it's gonna depend from state to state and all other type of things, but like what's usually that threshold where you should really start getting help?
The minute you start receiving revenue into your business, we need to the minute we decide I own my future. I
Mhm.
work for myself. I am a business owner. That is the day that we should have a money team. Now, I want every single business owner to have a money team. And this includes bookkeeper, tax accountant, financial advisor, and CFO or business coach. And the reason we need all four of these roles is because we need a bookkeeper to make sure that all the income and expenses are correctly categorized. We have to keep track of everything coming in and out of our business. It is a legal requirement. It's not an option. And I think that's where we get confused, where we say, well, I'm just not a money person. Like, I'm not good with money. I don't have to do it. Well, the IRS actually doesn't care if you're good with money or not. You know what I mean? IRS doesn't care. You have to file your taxes at the end of the year anyway. So, my mom always said growing up, she said, there's two things in life that are guaranteed. You're going to pay taxes and die. But yet every April, we're all shocked that we have to pay taxes. Let's stop being shocked. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
what's going to happen. Let's gain control. So it is a requirement by the IRS that you have tracked your income and your expenses. Then our tax accountant is the person who's actually going to file the tax return for you and
Mhm.
help you save money, right? I do not work for Uncle Sam. Like, I do not want you to overpay in taxes, right? Like, I do not. So that's why I'm such a big proponent of having a money team, because your tax accountant can help you save money in taxes. Make sure you have all those deductions. And you mentioned wealth when you were reading my bio, and I don't talk about wealth enough, but the whole reason we're in business is to create healthy, sustainable, profitable businesses that support our lives.
Yes.
Well, financial advisor is going to help us see the future into our personal life and help us achieve those goals. So we need to have that financial advisor. And then we need to be able to look to the future. Are we going to get a bigger space? Are we going to bring on team members? Do I need a VA? Do I need, like, who do I need on my team? And that comes from having a CFO or a business coach to help you make strategic level business decisions as you look forward into your business.
Yeah, and I really love that because I think like that's so key what you just said. So we own our own lives, right? And wealth can be like in also our lifestyle, right? So to have a certain type of lifestyle or like maybe we want to buy a home, right? We need that support from that additional person that has that experience. And I just know that from going through the process right now, like we're going to be buying our home next year. So how much, net income we have, right? It's going to determine what our loan scenario is, right? And also determines how much money I'm giving Uncle Sam this year for my taxes because we had to file an extension, right? Because there's lots of different components to all of our business. But I wouldn't know that, and I wouldn't have that additional support of taking that off my plate if I didn't have, my bookkeeper and my CPA to support me in that. So, like, I think it's so important to what you're saying is in order to be like go to the next level, build our wealth, know where our business is going and grow, we need that support from the expert. As much as I'm a DIY person, I don't know everything. I don't want to know everything. And I love being able to pay for that additional support.
There's time to be DIY, right? Like, there are times that that makes sense. But I think as women, especially, we run around with these superhero capes. Like, I have to be the one to do everything and I need to be the expert in everything. Guess what? Like, there's so many things that I'm not good at, and I have to buy back my time. So when you start a business, you are literally buying back your time so that you can do what you are best at. You
Mhm.
shouldn't be doing the things that you're not great at. We need to find the experts who can save you time and energy and your sanity, right? And to have a team of experts in whatever you're not great at.
Yeah, I really love that. And so let's talk about the DIY. I want to go through the process because I feel like this was my own journey now going into 8 years of doing all this. I'm like, okay, I started DIY with QuickBooks, self employed.
Mhm.
And I love that, for like kind of tracking my expenses and things. That was cool. Um, and then I was really late in the game that I should have gone to a corporation earlier on. And I paid a lot of taxes because of that.
Mhm.
So I would love to get just your like advice and also any tools that you know of for anybody that from DIY. How do you know when to go to the next level? Because I did it too late. So don't be like Celeste, okay? Don't be
Yes.
late. Don't give giving extra thousands of dollars to Uncle Sam. don't do it like Celeste. So what are some awesome tools to know what is the next step from DIY to the other thing? Because for me, just talking from my own experience as a beauty professional, like, and with social media, I was like, well, if I'm not making like $500,000 or millions of dollars, then I'm not ready for the next level, because we get so ingrained with like make multiple six figures and we think, or millions of dollars. And we're like, oh, okay, well, we have to be like super big to go to the
Yeah.
next level. And that was not the case.
Well, thank you for making my point that we started off the podcast with, right? When
Yeah.
you asked me what's the number one problem, it is the I'm not enough,
Mm.
right? I'm not big enough.
Yeah.
I'm not making millions. I'm not making six figures. That's why when we work with our clients, we have packages that fit them where they are because we're not all created equal. And you deserve the same support as somebody who's generating $1 million. I digress. But all right, what do we do? First off, business and personal, 110% separate. Like if you do not have a personal account and a business account, you're going to go right now to the bank and open up a business account because I want them to be 100% separate. And this isn't a Danielle Hayden Kickstart Account Inc. rule. This is an IRS rule and a legal rule. You are doing what's called piercing the corporate veil. So if you are not separating them, you are destroying the legal protection that your LLC gives you. And if you're a sole proprietor, I still want them separated because if you get audited next year, they're coming after you. They're coming after your business and your personal. Keep that separate. So that's step one. Next, I would avoid the QuickBooks Self-Employed like the plague.
Tell me
Do
why.
do not open that. So it is okay for very general reporting. It does not have the capabilities to give you a balance sheet. It does not have the capabilities for long-term reporting. If you're listening to this podcast right now, like if you've tuned in this long, I know that you're meant to have an amazing business. And by setting yourself up for success, I believe that you're going to be a healthy, sustainable, profitable business. And in order to have that, you have to have an accounting software that can grow with you. And self-employed, you cannot use as an S corp. You cannot you will outgrow self-employed. And the cost difference is so small that I would rather have you in QuickBooks Essentials and using a true accounting software that you're never going to outgrow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes total sense. And it's true because I think to essential to the self-employed is only like a couple of dollars a month.
Yeah.
So which makes total like sense to what you're saying. And now I understand. I mean, if I would have known this like 6 years ago, it'd be a different story. But Celeste didn't know. So now start with essentials, don't start self-employed. And that's very true because the capabilities, because I've used it for so many years before we had to switch everything over this year, it's very limited. So that is very true.
Um, And then I would say lastly, you mentioned when do you become an S corp, right? So when do you decide that you are now putting yourself on payroll? Because when you are taxed as an LLC, you are paying self-employment tax on your net income.
Yeah.
When you become an S corp, you become a employee of your business and you pay less in self-employment tax. Now you have to be bringing in net income of at least $50,000 to $60,000 for at least 2 years for it to become tax advantageous. But now nobody else has to fall victim to what you went through, right? I just literally gave you the number, right? If your bookkeeping is accurate, most importantly accurate, and you are reviewing your numbers, you know when to start looking at becoming an S corp, which is going to save you so much money in your taxes in the long run. Don't do it before you're ready. There's no pressure, but I want you looking at your numbers so that you know when is the right time.
Yeah, and I love that how you said like around 50 or $60,000. So I really should have done this like 7 years ago, but I've been paying a lot in taxes, and I'm just sharing this with you as my audience because I want you to learn from what I've learned because it's no fun. Like I didn't know any better. I was like, I'm the DIY person. I'm like, we're okay. And we get so like, I love how you're saying that we feel like we're not enough. Well, it's not enough money yet to go ask somebody, or I'm not big enough yet to have, a corporation or, like start paying myself or all these other things. And I thought I had to be like this huge thing. And once I thought I was ready, it turns out that I could have done it sooner and saved so much money. And I have 3 kids. Okay. And I live in California. It's expensive over here. My
Seriously.
3 kids, they ain't no tax write-off, okay? I'm still paying so much money, okay? It's scary. Like, Celeste is sad, sad. How much
Well,
money I'm paying
that's
a
why you
year.
need a money team, Celeste. So you said it before, you have a bookkeeper, you have a
No,
tax account. Those are the people who are looking out for you.
yes.
You did not go to school. So my background, I don't know if you know this, my background is actually, I started as a hairstylist.
I did
That's why I'm
not
so,
know that.
yeah, that's why I'm so passionate about this industry.
Uh-huh.
So I started behind the chair, right after high school. I had went back to school to study entrepreneurship and fell in love with accounting. But here's what I realized when I was doing hair, I was doing specific actions with my clients to hit the goals of the salon so that I could make more money. And then I was teaching the girls in the salon how to do the same thing. And then together we could hit our goals and get more incentives. And I was teaching them how to do that. And then I went to school for accounting and realized, oh, like this is what I was doing the whole time. Like I was just using numbers to hit my goals. So fast forward, go to corporate, learn how to do this with CEOs, the board of directors, investors. So now when I work with business owners, I get it, right? Like I really do get it from the bottom of my heart because um, we don't all know how to do that with money to hit our goals. And so that's why I say it's okay to say, I need a money team or I need some support. Like I have a business coach and the things that I'm not good at. And it's okay to say that.
Yeah, and I love that, and it's so true, like, having a money team has really changed, like it's changing my life, just how we see everything, like, how our business continues to grow and everything, and how we're, like, being more strategic with things, so it has really been game changing for us. Like, I talked about this on the podcast, but last year we were able to pay off all our credit card debt, we have no car payments, and we're so proud, we're like, "Oh my gosh, we're such responsible adults now." But, that wouldn't have happened without my money.
Hashtag adulting.
Right? Adulting. I'm an adult at 38 years old, you guys. It took me this long. But, like it's the reality of it. And so now talking about this, about money and budgeting. So I love to ask you this because I know you're a professional and you know numbers. And I love that you were part of our industry as well. So you really get this. So budgeting, right? So how much money should we really be spending and like beauty supplies, like I started with the episode, like that is a real thing. Okay. The shiny object syndrome is real with
It's
tools,
so real.
hair products. I think even just as a mom or as a person, I'm like, okay, what new beauty products can I make my skin look more glowy and pretty? Like it's a real thing. And it can, for me in the beginning of my own career, I was like, well, if I get that new brush, I'm going to be better. Or if I take that one class, I'm going to be better. And we get into this loophole, well, where, like I've had like really in-depth conversations with different beauty pros. They're paying thousands of dollars or taking out loans to get
Right.
additional education. And I'm just like,
It's
but
the mindset that we talked about at the beginning. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. If I spend more, if I get more training, maybe I'll be enough.
mhm,
But I think that's where a lot of our fear-based spending comes from. So we found that there's 4 money types. And we have a quiz, kickstartaccountinginc.com/quiz. You can take the quiz. But there's 4 money types. It's our free spenders. They're the ones who they don't look at the numbers before they spend. It's like your true shiny object syndrome. Our free spenders, they love to get the next new thing. Then we have our keepers. Our keepers love to save money. Nothing ever feels like enough. And I'll often say to our keepers, like, what are you saving for? And they'll say, well, I'm reinvesting back in my business. And I'm like, well, what are you reinvesting in? And they're like, well, nothing. I'm just leaving the money in the business. I'm like, that's not reinvesting. Right? That's letting your cash sit there.
yeah.
So then we have our keepers. Then we have our perfectionists. Perfectionist wants to know exactly where every single penny is going in and out. It's exhausting being a perfectionist. Then we have our balance seeker. And the balance seeker is somebody who finds the balance between spending, but consulting the numbers,
Mhm.
making good business decisions to support the long-term vision of the business. So um, I think the knowing your money personality type really helps you know where you're leaning into, right? So if you're leaning into professional development and always buying the next professional development, you can start to think, okay, hold on. Am I a free spender? Why am I doing this? But do most people, Celeste, I don't even think most people realize that they're spending that much money on professional development because most people aren't even looking at their financials. There's a super cool report. I'm a geek, so it's super cool. I love this report. It's called Your Profit and Loss as a Percentage of Sales in QuickBooks. You go run that report year to date, and you can see in that report how much money you've spent on professional development. You can see in that report how much you spent on cost of goods sold or research and development, right? You can see how much of your sales, that hard-earned money that you're working for, how much are you spending back out the door in each of these categories? Because I bet you most people don't even realize that it's 20% of their income going to professional development.
Yeah, and I love that you're saying that. And I'm here like, if you're new here in the podcast, I've talked about this. Like I spent over $60,000 on my education. Okay. I know it's a lot of money, but it has given me so many tools that honestly I wouldn't be here. My husband's business wouldn't be where it's at without them. Because I didn't just do it just on hair, right? I did on different aspects of business and marketing. But having said that, like I am not a proponent of going into debt. And I know there's amazing educators and amazing tools out there, but we also have to be conscious, like the reality that sometimes we do spend because, well, like I'm not enough, right? And thinking like, well, if I get that additional certificate or if I take that additional class, and I can tell you from my own experience, it doesn't help in that. That has to come from within you. And that took honestly for me a lot of like work of doing therapy and just within myself seeing where that was coming from because it was a deeper problem and it was showing up in my business with overspending. And that's why I wanted to do this episode. So it's so true.
Yeah, you don't leave all that money mindset stuff. You bring it into business with you. Like you don't clock out, right? Like Superman, Clark Kent. You don't put on the costume and even in that show, he brought all his garbage with him.
Yeah.
So you are a whole person, and the whole person is living a personal life and the whole person is living the business, and you don't get to separate the two. So when you watched your parents struggle with money, you
Mhm.
brought that into your business. When your teacher talked negatively about money growing up, you brought that into your business. When your like whatever, aunt and uncle, your previous relationship, the ex-boyfriend from 10 years ago, right? Like
Yeah.
all these things are accumulating, and then you show up in your business and then you wonder why you can't spend money or why you're overspending. Because I think there's two problems. There's overspending and then there's not spending enough. Because remember, our keepers don't want to spend money.
Yeah.
They're just holding on to it. And they'll plus when people say to me, I didn't hit my revenue goals, I'll say, give me your income statement. I'll show you why. It's because you're probably not spending money on marketing. You're probably not growing the operation side of your business. You tell me you're burnt out, show me your income statement. I can show you why. You're not getting the support you need. You don't have a VA. You don't have a money team. How you're feeling inside has a direct reflection to your spending, and you can tie them back and forth. And I'm not saying you're going to look at your income statement for the first time and be able to do that. That's why I want you to get a money team,
Yeah.
because with your bookkeeper, like now, slash, you're armed with that information. Like, God, how empowering that you can go to therapy and look at your numbers and be able to tie the two together and the impact.
Yeah, and it has been transformational for me. And I think not enough people talk about this, like you're talking about, like our upbringing, our lifestyle, like what life has happened to us. We bring that into business too, like, whether we're enough or making money. And like having a money team for me has been like transformational and for my husband as well, where we're able to have the lifestyle that we have now. But it takes other people to be able to do there. You know what I mean? Um, so what are just to like kind of tie all this together? So what are some real things that can really like help us in regards to mindset? Just to kind of wrap this whole episode up.
Yeah. Acknowledge that you have it. Acknowledge that you have a money mindset. Acknowledge that you are a business owner and that you are enough and that you should be celebrated. And that you are capable of taking responsibility for your business. Step into your power. Like seriously, again, if you made it to this point in the podcast, I believe in you. And I want you to step into your power and your confidence acknowledge the money mindset and start taking action.
Yeah, I really love that. And, so if we can take a big takeaway from today's episode, it's just the importance that we need support and we're worthy of support. And like we gave you like a threshold
Yeah.
50 to $60,000. It is time to talk. And I know like most of the time you can have a consultation. It's either free or like, so you can actually talk to a professional and see where you're at. So don't make the mistakes that cost me a lot of money.
Yes. Yes.
Don't be like Celeste. Okay. Save
Well,
yourself
we
the
do
headache.
offer free discovery calls. So we offer bookkeeping and tax services. So if you do want to talk to a money team, get some questions answered, connect kickstartaccountinginc.com. And there's a blue box up at the top to book a call, and we can do this together. Like my whole thing, if one person, literally one person gets value out of today, like this was worth my time.
Yeah. And thank you so much. I think it's so important. Like you'll get so much value. I've gotten so much value out of my own money team, and I know you will too. And to end this, I know you have an amazing gift for my audience. So I would love to give you some time to share and tell us more.
Yeah. Yeah. Kickstartaccountinginc.com/gift. There is a top 10 tax deductions that most business owners are forgetting. So go download that opt-in or that takeaway. It's a sheet that you can use as you're spending money in your business. And then if you like being able to hear about how to use your numbers to manage and grow your business, I invite you to listen to our podcast, Business by the Books.
Sounds great. Well, thank you so much for being
Thank
a
you
part
for,
of our podcast and
yeah,
just
thank you.
like sharing so much of your wealth and knowledge and just supporting our beauty industry to be better with money and build our wealth, and making it easy and digestible for us as
Thank
well.
you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so thank you for being a part of the podcast. And we'll tune back in next week. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.